Good morning. How's everybody doing today? I'm Karen Yankovich, and this is March Madness of LinkedIn Strategy, where I am here live pretty much every day, sharing some LinkedIn strategy tips with you. As we wrap up Q1, right? I many of the people I talk to have big 2023 goals, and I think it comes down to strategy. So, and some of the strategies can be really simple. It's just about implementing some of them into your daily routines. And that's what this series is about. And the intention of this series is to answer your questions. So, first and foremost, if you have a question for me, send it to me at Karen@sheslinkedup.com, or you can DM it to me wherever you're watching this. We're actually live now on Facebook. My Facebook page and my Facebook group. If you're not in my Facebook group, you should join us at linkedinforwomencommunity.com. And we are live on LinkedIn and Twitter and YouTube. So wherever you're watching this, you can DM me if you have a question, or you can go to KarenYankovich.com/speakpipe and leave an audio question. So I'm going to be doing this live for a while until I run out of questions, or probably not until I run out of questions, but for another week or two anyway. So even though it's not going to be March anymore until next week, we're still going to move forward with this. So if you have any comments or questions about anything I talked about in the last few days, you could drop them in the comments here. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about today, you could drop them in the comments here, and let's move forward. So what I want to talk about today is why I think LinkedIn is the place to house and to start your PR strategy efforts. So what does that mean? So let's talk about PR for a second. We're talking about PR, we're talking about earned media and paid media. Right? There is nothing wrong with either one of them. There are lots of reasons to do paid media. People pay for Super Bowl ads, right? People pay for features in newspapers and magazines. There's nothing wrong with that. Sorry, guys, I'm at the beach and I'm heading out of here soon. So laundry is getting done and beeping. So it's hard for the household noises. So earned media and paid media. So paid media is I'm investing in this feature. Nothing wrong with that. Lots of people do that. I've done that. Many people have done that. Oprah does that. Everybody does that. Maybe not Oprah. She probably doesn't have to pay for media, but she pays for a media company, right? So anyway, and then earned media. And earned media is when people write about you that you haven't paid for, right? When they talk about you. I actually was doing some research this morning for something, and I found an article that I was featured in that I didn't even know I was featured in. I shared it on my personal Facebook page. If you guys are connected to me on Facebook, you can find it there. I think it's public. You can find it there anyway. But it was like top 10 LinkedIn experts in New York. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm happy to have my name in this, right? So that's earned media. That's earned media. So why do I think LinkedIn is the place? Listen, if you're doing paid media or if you're investing in a publicist, again, very common, many successful people, once your business is at maybe $500,000 a year, you may want to consider investing in a publicist. We've got an episode of our podcast coming out next week with Brielle Cotterman, who runs a paid media company. We've interviewed Rhonda Swan, who has a paid media company, right? So there's lots of reasons that you would want to invest in somebody to do that. And it's starts at multiple thousands of dollars a month, maybe even 5 figures a month, depending on what your package is that you're investing in. And at some point in your business, you may want to do that. But until then, until you have a budget to hire somebody to do that for you, one great way to get features, to get earned media, is to build relationships with the journalists that write about the kinds of things that you're an expert in. So this is part of the LinkedIn strategy we teach in our She's Linked Up program. And if you want to know anything about any of the programs that I run, or any of the work that I do, let me just see if I can find you I'm sure that I have it here somewhere. Yeah, just go on over to KarenYankovich.com/call, and you can book a call on the calendar and we can talk about how we can support you with some of this stuff. So, I mean, there's nothing that we offer that like 1 month of a publicist, is probably more money than everything than our highest ticket offers. So, it pays to learn how to do this yourself, at least in the beginning. So let me give you a couple examples of how that works. A couple of years ago, I went to a conference in New Jersey. I live in New Jersey, and I went to a conference in New Jersey, and I was a speaker at the conference. So it gives me a little bit of extra credibility, right? You can get that same amount of credibility with a great LinkedIn profile, right? So I was a speaker at the conference, and there was a guy at the conference that was the editor, the publisher of one of our local business magazines, and it's a pretty big business magazine. So I'm like, okay, I need to meet this guy, right? So of course I met him at the conference, but it was great. It was chaotic. So I didn't have a chance to really chat with him, but I followed up with him on LinkedIn. I followed up with him, connected with him on LinkedIn. Every now and then I would reach out to him or tag him. I didn't haunt him, but I built a true actual relationship. And then one day there was an article in one of the newspapers in the state about how our governor was interviewing Gary Vaynerchuk about entrepreneurism in New Jersey. So I sent this guy the link, and I'm like, we need to get in on this. Let's do something. Let's create some kind of a workshop and get in on this entrepreneurism in New Jersey wave, right? So he's like, yeah, I'm down for that. So he says, come on in, let's talk about it. So I went into his office, talked about it. This was January 2020. So you know what happened there, right? Like no in-person conferences happened. But what did happen was, obviously we postponed it all. And then I reached out to him again, because I built a relationship. He had no idea who I was, but I used the conference as leverage to start the relationship. I reached out to him maybe like March of 2020 and said, what if we did this virtually? He's like, sure, let's talk about that. So we ended up doing it virtually. And because it was virtual, he pushed it out to all the publications their parent company owned. It was like a virtual conference that like 3,000 people saw. Where do you get that kind of visibility, right? Get that kind of visibility with earned media. And it came from me building a relationship with the publisher of this business magazine in New Jersey. You can do the same thing. Doesn't matter what you are. I've worked with a lot of real estate agents, and I'm always telling them, look to see what articles are coming out locally, because they tend to be locally based businesses, right? Obviously there's referrals and things like that, but the vast majority of their business is local. And look to see who in your state, who in your county, who in your area of the world talks about, writes about, has a TV show about real estate, housing prices, even if it's like, how do you beautify your outside before you sell your house, right? Like all of those are things that can help a real estate agent get more visibility. And real estate agents have a ton of competition, right? But if you're the real estate agent in town that's as seen in Zillow, as seen on NBC, and you can do this very easily, these journalists need us more than we need them, right? So instead of just sharing their articles, which you should be doing, you actually connect with the writers. You connect with the person that wrote the article. You connect with the TV anchor. You connect with the podcast host, right? The people that are at the helm, right, of these publications that need smart people to interview, that need smart people to feature. Now, again, all of this only works as well as it can work with a great LinkedIn profile. So you have to start with a great LinkedIn profile. And I'm going to share something with you later this week about that, because honestly, I am so tired of talking about LinkedIn profiles. You must know by now you need to have a great LinkedIn profile, right? And if you don't, KarenYankovich.com/call, grab a spot on my calendar. We can talk about that. But in the meantime, understand that when you're building out your LinkedIn connecting strategy, I'm never, ever, ever going to teach the spray and pray that you see a lot of in your inbox, like just messaging a bunch of people and saying, hey, have you thought about this? I want to help you. Hire me, give me your credit card. Never going to hear that from me, because I don't think that works, frankly. And I know that people can argue. I almost want somebody to come on here and do a point counterpoint on that, because I can give you a counterpoint for every good reason people say that works, why it doesn't work. And what works better and saves you more time. I'm all about ease in your business. And, you can go after one client at a time, or you can build a relationship with the journalist in your local area that writes about what you're expert in and get in front of hundreds and thousands of people at a time, right? I have a big visibility strategy for 2023. And a lot of it comes down to me building relationships with podcast hosts, me building relationships with journalists, right? That's where a lot of this happens. And what that does, it's the front line, right? To filling my followers, filling my email list, filling my programs, downloads to my podcast, right? So I'm not saying it's only visibility, right? You want visibility with some strategy, and using LinkedIn and PR together helps you make that happen. So I hope that makes sense. You totally should be doing that. If you want to know what it looks like to get some help with that, again, grab a spot on our calendar, KarenYankovich.com/call, gets you to the calendar. And I look forward to seeing your name there. I'll see you back here tomorrow. And don't forget, message me if you have a question for me that I can answer here live. Have a great day.